Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video on the Templin Institute called the Imperial Fists from the Warhammer 40k universe. If you want to check out my previous reactions to other videos relating to the Warhammer 40k universe by the Templin Institute, I'll put the card at the top there. I've been watching the Fortress World of Cadia, the Necron Dynasties, the Orcs, and the Tyranids, yes. So today it's the Imperial Fists, and let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Every battle brother within the Adeptus Astartes has been transformed into something more than human. Implanted with an ancient gene seed, they become stronger, faster, beyond the touch of plague or any natural disease. They can suffer wounds.
Okay, before we continue, is this gene seed a biological, organic matter, or is it synthetic in its design? Like, I mean, they have to take it out and then pass it on to the next person, and then when that person dies, then they have to pass it on to the next person. So is this thing biological in a sense, or is it a synthetic creation that's just implanted in them? And if it's synthetic, isn't that a problem? Because the Imperium of Man doesn't necessarily support advanced technology in that sense. So yeah, I'm a bit confused about what is this gene seed exactly. Yeah.
That might shred a normal man to pieces, only to rise and fight once more. Clad in ancient power armor and wielding the most effective weapons known to man, there are few beings in the galaxy who can endure the wrath of but a single space marine. It was inevitable then, that when entire armies were mobilized from such warriors, they became the most impressive and renowned forces in the galaxy. Of the 20 original Space Marine legions raised by the Emperor of Mankind, all have become famous or infamous in their own right. Although exemplary in every form of warfare, each became devoted to a specific craft or style of battle. It was for this reason that when nearly half the Space Marine legions turned traitor and the Imperium of Man was split asunder, there was but a single, obvious choice for which must defend the capital of the Emperor's greatest work. When the traitors who served the ruinous powers descended upon the walls of the Imperial Palace, they found the bulwarks, bastions, and trenches guarded by the finest of mankind's defenders.
Oh, I see my custodians up front. I like the custodian up front like that, with his sword, just waiting for battle. And I see an Imperial Guard and the yellow guys at the back. I think those are the Imperial Fists, if I'm not mistaken. That's cool. And the palace, oh my gosh, man. This is exaggeration at, I don't know, like it's just an exaggeration of a palace. I mean, there's even titans on top of the roof. Titans, those big guys, with no neck. They're just like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay.
The Imperial Fists. Every Space Marine legion was shaped not only from the will and intellect of the Emperor, but the character of their respective Primarch. Genetically engineered transhuman sons of the Emperor, the Primarchs were intended to lead a great reconquest of man's lost dominions both on Earth and across the galaxy.
Okay, I guess those were the Primarchs. There was one who had horns and red hair and a red face. I don't know, but he kind of looked like a chaos demon. He kind of looked like a chaos demon. I'm not sure whether he really is a son of the Emperor, but anyways, they say he is. There's no Jerry Springer here or Murray to, give us a DNA test, so we just have to accept that it's the son. Yeah. Everybody else looked human. Just that guy who looked red. That guy, I don't know.
Each was instead scattered across the warp by the machinations of the ruinous powers before they reached maturity. a desperate attempt by the gods of chaos to subvert the Emperor's plans. While the Primarchs themselves were lost to him, the Emperor...
Okay, but how did the Emperor lose his children like that? I mean, I thought this guy was all powerful and all knowing, and he was a powerful psionic. So how is it possible that the Primarchs were just taken right under his feet like that? But anyways, let's continue.
The Emperor preserved genetic templates, and from these he created the first Space Marines. While mere shadows of their Primarchs, they were still magnificent warriors, more than capable of subduing the tyrants who had drowned terror in madness and petty ambition. It was from the gene seed of the Primarch who had become known as Rogel Dawn that the 7th Legion was created. While many of the other legions recruited only from a particular source or territory, the 7th was raised from the whole of Terra. Only those with the greatest capacity for endurance in both mind and body survived their transformation, for the process used to activate their Primarch's gene seed was particularly excruciating. Campaigns against the cities of the Crystal Sea, the witchery of the Windcaller clans, and countless other techno-barbarian tribes imparted on the 7th Legion a particular method of warfare. To the 7th, mere victory was not enough. Armies could be defeated, strongholds torn down, beliefs broken, but still a conquered territory might one day revolt against the Emperor. To truly conquer, that which was taken must be held in perpetuity. In the wake of the 7th Legion's advance, first on Earth and later across a multitude of worlds, there arose mighty fortresses and new dominions. The 7th Legion's Space Marines were equal parts warrior, engineer, and Castellian. They brought not only victory, but newly ordered realms within which the Emperor's dream of a united humanity could flourish.
Okay, so the 7th Legion, the Imperial Fists, they are not only warriors, but they are builders of the Imperium. So they're kind of like, they're essentially the builders of the Empire, you know. Wherever they've conquered, they build structures, fortresses, even cities, as a beacon and a bastion against, you know, the darkness of the galaxy. I wondered, do any of the other Astartes Legionnaires also do that? Or is it just the Imperial Fists who actually construct fortresses and networks that connect and that unify the Empire like that? Because this is very interesting.
These early conquests were described by onlookers as if the hand of the Emperor had descended and gripped with an unbreakable fist. This description of service done by the 7th Legion was embraced by the Emperor himself, naming them the Imperial Fists by personal decree. Exactly how long the lost Primarch of the Imperial Fists lived his early years while his legion fought on Earth has long since been lost in myth. Yet it was clear that the Imperial Fist's inclination towards order and structure originated in part with Rogel Dawn. Unyielding, idealistic, and honest at times to a fault, Dawn had raised the icy world of Inward to a capital of an interstellar empire. When the Emperor's great crusade to reconquer the galaxy first reached Dawn's adoptive home, the Primarch reunited with his father at the helm of an enormous starship known as the Phalanx. Immediately recognizing his father, Rogel Dawn knelt in fealty, bestowing to the Emperor not only his loyalty, but vassalage of the star-spanning society he had established. In turn, the Primarch was gifted the Legion created with his own genetic material, and the Phalanx transformed into the mobile fortress monastery of the 7th Space Marine Legion. Within the Great Crusade, the Imperial Fists achieved innumerable triumphs. Rogel Dawn, in particular, was said to possess the finest military mind of any of his brother Primarchs, ordered and disciplined, yet inclined to flashes of zeal and inspiration. The 7th Legion became the masters of siegecraft, whether on the attack or defense. Even the War Master Horus, first and most favored among the Emperor's sons, remarked that if he were to besiege a fortress designed by Dawn and held by the 7th Legion, the battle would become a never-ending stalemate. When Horus turned against the Emperor and embraced the temptations of the gods of chaos, the Imperial Fists were already on their way to Terra. The Legion had been named the Emperor's personal guard, and Dawn was in the midst of...
Okay, I really like this image. These artists, impressions of how the Imperium would look like. I'm assuming that's what this is, because I can see a custodian there with his weapon and his golden armor. I think that's the only way I'll recognize a custodian, that they have this golden armor that's just cladded around them like that. It's amazing. Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing. I wouldn't mind living here. I think it's one of the cities on Terra, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I wouldn't mind living here. This looks amazing. There's so much gold. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Completing the Imperial Palace. His designs would be put to the ultimate test as the traitor legions descended upon the solar system, intent on destroying the Emperor and the Imperium along with it. The Imperial Fists conducted a masterful defense against impossible odds, making the traitors pay for every inch taken from the outer perimeter of the Pluto defense sphere to the forges of Mars, and eventually to the holy ground of Terra itself. Together with their loyalist brothers in the Blood Angels and White Scar legions, the Imperial Fists put up a fanatical defense within the palace. But with the collapse of the capital's still unfinished defenses seemingly inevitable, Dawn and several companies of his finest warriors joined the Emperor in a counterattack on Horus' flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The final confrontation between the Emperor and his fallen son echoed into eternity and sent shockwaves across the warp. It fell to Dawn to discover the body of his fallen Emperor and the corpse of his brother Primarch, Sanguinius. With Horus dead, the traitors scattered, and the Emperor's shattered body entombed within the Golden Throne, Rogel Dawn sought vengeance across all the fallen worlds of the galaxy. The Imperial Fists hunted down the remnants of the traitor legions, part of a merciless campaign known as the Great Scouring. Seeking to atone for their failure to protect the Emperor, the Legion besieged a chaos stronghold known as the Iron Cage. This was a hateful construct of endless fortresses and trenches defended by the Iron Warriors, a traitor legion that had always claimed to be the Seventh's equal in the art of siegecraft. Only through the intervention of the Ultramarines were the Imperial Fists spared a war of attrition that would have ruined them. When he returned to Terra, Dawn was furious to discover that his legion was to be split into smaller formations, part of a new Imperial reformation known as the Codex Astartes. With the specter of another great rebellion looming over the shattered Imperium, many thought the Space Marine legions too powerful. They were to be broken down into chapters of no more than 1,000 warriors, a move supported by many of the surviving loyal Primarchs. Dawn was initially not among them, only relenting when he realized his self-imposed quest for vengeance had blinded him to wisdom. From the Imperial Fists, the 7th Space Marine Legion, there arose the Black Templars, Iron Knights, Crimson Fists, Hammers of Dawn, and dozens of other successor chapters. Rogel Dawn, now master of the Imperial Fist chapter, embraced all aspects of the Codex Astartes, retraining his battle brothers to its every dictate. It was in the first Black Crusade of Abaddon the Despoiler that the Imperial Fists lost their Primarch, in a fate that echoed that.
Abaddon the Despoiler is the guy who destroyed Cadia, if I'm not mistaken, right? With a black fortress or something like that. Yes, that structure that was in space and it hit the planet and the planet cracked and, it blew up. So Abaddon the Despoiler killed Rogel Dawn. Wow. Okay, whoever this guy is, this Abaddon the Despoiler, he's quite dangerous. And since he's a chaos demon, he doesn't really die. He'll just come back. Huh.
Of his father, Rogel Dawn was last seen aboard a traitor battleship, leading a desperate attack on its command deck. All that was recovered of his body was a single fist, returned to the phalanx where it still remains. The Hand of Dawn has been the chapter's holiest icon, a reminder of the sacrifice and commitment necessary for the Imperium to endure. For 10,000 years, the Imperial Fists have been the Imperium's most stalwart defenders. Entirely fleet-based, they have eschewed a traditional chapter homeworld in favor of the Phalanx. It is from here that the chapter master and his command staff oversee the 10 companies, and the auxiliary and support units that currently comprise the Imperial Fists. Additional formations include the Imperial Fists Space Fleet, which can muster numerous strike cruisers, battle barges, and star forts, During the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy, the fleet of the 7th Legion was amongst the largest in the Imperium, and the lineage of that great armada can still be felt. While
Okay, so since the Imperial Fists are mainly a spaceborne force, right? And that the Legion has been separated into chapters. Does that mean that they've lost their ability to build like fortresses and cities on different worlds that they've conquered, like the different chapters? Are they able to build? Are they able to still do the same work that they did before when they were all one legion? I'm just wondering about that, because now this chapter is now mainly focused in space. I don't know if they have the time to be building structures and fortresses on planets or even stations in space for the protection of the Empire. Yeah, I'm just wondering about that.
always on the move, the chapter maintains a network of fortress chapels on a variety of planets across the Imperium. These are typically garrisoned by veterans wounded so grievously that they are no longer able to fight at their full effectiveness. It is from these bastions that the chapter seeks out potential initiates, holding tournaments or even instigating conflicts among the local population to determine who might be worthy. Rogel Dawn famously said that he wanted recruits, not vassals, and so, these fortress chapels exert no political right over the worlds they occupy, nor make any demands of its people. Like most chapters, the Imperial Fists embrace combined arms in flexible, balanced battle groups, each capable of matching a variety of threats. While they do not purposely seek out any specific battleground over any other, the chapter is uniquely suited to the art of the siege. They are utterly immovable in the defense and able to pinpoint weaknesses and apply relentless pressure when on the attack. This single-mindedness has on many occasions, however, led to far greater casualties, with the Imperial Fists suffering losses other chapters would never accept. This has sustained the chapter's legendary reputation, but in multiple instances has nearly driven the chapter to extinction, most notably during the War of the Beast. In many ways, the entire chapter is still driven by the memory of their defense of the Imperial Palace during the Siege of Terra. Their martial culture is defined by the epic struggle between order and disorder, embracing ritual and ceremony. Even in battle, they are driven and focused, dedicated to fastidiousness and a meticulous attention to detail. This has materialized in the chapter's near obsession with scrimshoring, the carving of intricate details and patterns into bone. The Hand of Dawn itself has been scrimshored, with the heraldry of every subsequent chapter master, and many brothers wear the scrimshored bones of fallen comrades. They are also uniquely devoted to the Pain Glove, a steel framework that leaves its wearer in complete agony. New recruits might be forced to wear the Pain Glove as a punishment, while veterans employ it as a form of meditation. Through these activities, the Imperial Fists have honed their unequaled spiritual and mental endurance. Such qualities are needed in the defenders of the Imperium now more than ever before. With the fall of Cadia, an incursion by demonic forces on the soil of Holy Terra itself and the galaxy torn asunder, there is little doubt that mankind has entered the time of ending. It is a moment that Rogel Dawn must have known might come, for even as the ashes of the Horus Heresy still fell across the galaxy, he laid down the foundations for a secret order. In the event that the very existence of the Imperium of Man was threatened, if Holy Terra were attacked or even occupied, then the Codex Astartes was to be cast aside. By the command of their long-vanished Primarch, the successor chapters of the Imperial Fists would reunite, and the 7th Legion reformed. In doing so, they would bring the might of an entire Space Marine Legion unseen for millennia against any who might imperil mankind's dominance over the galaxy.
Is this sanctioned by Rogel Dawn's superiors? I mean, it sounds nice, to say if all else is lost, then the entire 7th Legion must return. But by whose authority? Who gives that command? Since he is dead, Rogel Dawn is dead, and the 7th Legion has separated themselves into chapters, who's in command? Who's going to give that order to say, all right, everybody join up together into one force? And whoever says that, will they have the support of the higher ups, the people who are higher than them, to do that? Yeah, it's nice. It sounds nice, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening the way they expect it to. Yeah.
The last wall, as this command is known, has only been activated once before, and the time may finally be right for the order to be given once again.
The Templin Institute investigates the nations, factions, and organizations of alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.
Okay, guys, that was the Imperial Fists, the 7th Legion of the Imperium of Man. Yeah, they are builders and conquerors at the same time. That I find that quite cool. And they are proficient in the art of the siege. That's also quite interesting to hear about. And considering that they are an inflexible organization, I'm just wondering, how long can they survive? Because like the narrator said that, they stick to their battle formations and battle doctrines. They don't really adapt to the ever-evolving battlefield. And thus they lose a lot of numbers, in terms of their chapters or even the legion. I'm not sure whether when they separate it into chapters that they become different in terms of their tactics, or do they continue on with the same doctrine that they've inherited when they were the 7th Legion. I'm not entirely sure about that. But yeah, the Last Wall command, I am still very much, confused with that command that Regal Dawn has given them, that should Holy Terror be invaded, or the Imperium of Man is in great danger, then the 7th Legion has to come back together. Yeah, I don't know, it's a bit vague. Especially in the part where it says that if the Imperium is under siege or is in trouble. I'm afraid the Imperium is always under siege and in trouble, so when do you determine, okay, this is the right time to unify and become the 7th Legion again, and if Holy Terror is invaded, and the chapters are all over the galaxy, how are you going to relay the message in time to all of them to say, okay, let's come back together and let's go back to Terra? That'll take a long process, I think. And yeah, I just don't know about this Last Wall command, because like the narrator said, that after the Horus Heresy, there was a decision made without Regal Dawn's input, if I can say that all the legions would be separated into chapters. If he didn't want that, right? If he wanted his legion to stay as one, then he could have protested that, and he could have said, no, I'm a Primarch and I command my troops and I want them to stay as one, and there's nothing you can do about that. So why would it be possible for the 7th Legion to return now if they couldn't do it before, if they couldn't stay together before? What allows them to unify as one 7th Legion now? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Because I'm a bit confused about this myself, And wouldn't the rest of the Imperium consider them as a threat? if the entire 7th Legion returned as one, because the whole idea of separating them into chapters was to prevent another civil war. So now if you have the 7th Legion returning, they would be a very powerful force. And they might say, yes, they're doing it to protect the Imperium of Man, but you know, they might conflict with the leadership of the Imperium of Man. The Imperium of Man's leadership might go this way, while the 7th Legion goes that way. And the 7th Legion has more power now, so they could actually overthrow the current government and say, okay, we are protecting Terra, we're protecting the Imperium, therefore we must take over the Imperium of Man, and we must manage the situation because we are the 7th Legion. Yeah. This is getting to me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, this was interesting. The Imperial Fists are a very interesting group. Their leader, Regal Dawn, the narrator did say that he died by the hands of the spoiler. I forgot his name now. Abaddon the Despoiler. So yeah, it looks like it's not very good for the Imperium of Man. They're losing one of their most prized possessions, the Primarchs, second only to the Emperor himself. And we all know what happened with the Emperor. He's encased in the Golden Throne. So I wonder how many Primarchs are left after the Civil War. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens next in future videos that I watch about the Warhammer 40k universe. But yeah, this was interesting. This was very interesting, guys. If you liked the video, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And I will see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.